Hey folks, Scott Walters, welcome back to the Bulletproof Garage. And I think I have lost my freaking mind because I am thinking about buying this. All right, that's a 1959 or so Cat D7 Dozer. Hadn't run in over 10 years. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get it started and go from there. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Here in the Bulletproof Garage. All right, let's take a look at this tractor and see what we've got to work with, okay? There's a little bit of an issue as to exactly what we have. I said it's a 1959 or so, so we know that the base tractor is a D7 Delta. And those were built, I want to say, from 59 to 60 or 60 to 61, just 2 years. It's got a 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine, of course, and this is the first year for the turbo. Depending on which engine it is, it's either 140 or 160 horsepower. The problem is that there ought to be a serial number right here, all right? Yeah, you can see the paint looks a little different in this area, so there was a tag there at one point, and it's no longer there. But doing a little digging around, so there is a casting number on the block that's a 1 mic 4844, and apparently that is for a D7 Echo or maybe a later engine. So again, we've got D7 Delta, the basic tractor, but maybe with a D7 Echo engine. Again, hasn't run in about 10 years, and when it was running, apparently it wasn't running great. All right, so obviously, you know, electrical and fuel, and you know, and we're going to try to get it started. Now, since we're standing right here, the undercarriage is it's seen better days. So the track shoes or pads, I mean, they are just plumb wore out. I mean, the Grouser's got some nice height on them. Looks like they were built up not too long ago, but the pads are just, I mean, they're just worn through. I know enough to be dangerous here, but you know, I do know that you know, the rollers may still be available new. I don't think the idler is. And let's go ahead and look at the sprocket back here. The nice thing about the sprocket, it's got bolt-on segments. All right, so instead of changing out the whole sprocket, once it gets worn out, you can go ahead and just unbolt the segments and put new ones on. So that's something we might be able to fix. The tensioner looks like it's seen better days. So moving on to the back of the tractor, somewhere in this area there should be a serial number stamped. And I'm not seeing it somewhere around this area, but maybe it's something that would be covered up by the winch. So again, we're still kind of trying to figure out exactly what we have here. All right, now this is a good piece of gear here. Of course, it's going to add a few thousand pounds of weight. It's a Hyster D7 Delta winch. Obviously, who knows if it's still operational. All right, fuel tank back here. And all right, we got some issues over here. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so our recoil spring, tensioner spring, that's just broken. All right, so that we got a little Bluetooth action going right here, if you can see that. So that's no good. And yeah, about the same issue on the pads or shoes. They're just slap wore out. Okay, so the fuel system, that's making me a little nervous. So we're going to have to get after that here soon and see if we can get fuel to the injectors. So cross your fingers on that. All right, moving on to the front of the tractor. All right, so let's get a measurement. You know, I left my tape measure at home, but I used my redneck tape measure, so that's about 6.5 feet. Okay, so we got a 12-foot wide blade, give or take 6 inches, and it is it's a hydraulic blade, so it's not a cable-operated blade. And you can see that the since I'm up here, the cylinders have seen better days. So obviously that needs to be re-chromed, but hell, it might be good enough to lift the blade up for now. All right, And there she is. So, so we're going to try to get fuel to the engine, and we're going to try to get that starter cranking over, and wish us luck. All right, let's check some fluids. First, the radiator. And, yep, okay, well, I see some fluid there, and it's actually green. You are not going to be able to see using the camera, I don't think, so just take my word for it. So that's good news. Not likely then that we've got a cracked block, because this has had antifreeze in it all these years it's been sitting up. So next we'll check the oil. Okay, well actually it's right down here at add oil. But it says check while running, if you can read that. So here's the full line, there's the add line, and if you see here it says check while running. Now the tractor is at a real pretty steep angle, so we're just going to, we're going to call that good. And yeah, I can smell some diesel in there. But it doesn't seem to be super thin, so all right, I think that's going to be good enough for starting it. All right, moving to the back now, we'll check the fuel. All right, let's see if we got any fuel in this. Okay, that doesn't look terrible. Oh, we got a dipstick here. Let's see, nothing. Nothing. Come on. Oh wow. Yeah, we got we got about that much fuel. But again, so we're on an angle right here. So yeah, we don't have a whole lot of fuel here. I'm thinking it looks like the tank is 5% full, so somewhere down in this area. But the pickup on the tank is right in this area, so the only issue is if we're going to try to use the fuel that's in this tank, is the pickup covered up or not? And let's see if I can peer down in here. Let's see. All right, yeah, that comes out. All right, so I can see down in the corner of the tank, and so we actually do have fuel, a few inches of fuel in the bottom of the tank. So so the pickup is not going to be uncovered. You know, obviously it might be plugged up or something, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But as of right now, we've got enough fuel in the tank to start this dozer.
All right, we've got 2 batteries that the owner dropped off. Was nice enough to drop those off for us, and we got them charging over here off the charger. So we're gonna get them charged up and see if we can't get this thing started.
All right, so as you can see, it's nice and comfortable here. So we did went ahead and did the vinyl delete. So we're just sitting on the springs. You know, the controls all move fairly well. Everything seems to be, I haven't messed with the winch controls yet, but everything else is surprisingly free. Yeah, you know, and even the fuel, I'm not messing with the blade moving up and down, but you know, transmission shifts fine, forward, reverse, so that's good news. I'm actually a little surprised. So now let's go ahead and take this air cleaner off and see if we can get the air filter out and see how nasty that is, or even if there's anything in there. All right, well, oh, we got well, he's seen better days, but I guess we got a mascot, and you know, maybe a decade or so of rat turds. And in theory, there is, oh, well, nope. We went ahead and did the filter delete on this, I guess. So there's no air filter in there. So, all right. Well, that's not great news because that just means that there's easier for critters and debris and such to get into the turbo. Now I'm wondering if we need to take this whole thing off before we start working on it. So it looks like these 4 bolts here, and then some other ones that are going to be really hard to get that off. Oh, yeah. Well, it looks like it's good. All right, that's going to come off. Let me get in position here. Well, there it is. All right, folks. We got a little mouse condo here in our turbo. We're going to do the best that we can to clean this out. My buddy Will, standing right here next to him, he says he is an expert at cleaning out mouse houses. So maybe I'll hand that off to him. No, seriously, let's get that cleaned up and hope that it's still got some life left in it. All right, folks, if you've ever heard of hantavirus, it's nasty stuff. I've got a what we call a field expedient mask here, so be careful with your cleaning up old mouse nest. All right, while I was sitting here, I noticed something else. So we've got a dipstick here, and based on the location, that's going to have to be the transmission. And so we get good news and bad news here. So it may be difficult for you to see, but we've got plenty of fluid, shall we say. It's about right here on the line. But take a gander at that. So that's milkshake. So that's not good. So there's water in there, and I'm not sure if that's water just from sitting or if it's somehow getting rainwater in it, but you know, that may be enough to see if this thing will move. But if we end up buying this thing, that's going to be one of the first things that we've got to change. All right, so more good news, bad news. Go ahead. All right, folks, here's where I could use some help. So this is open to the elements, whatever this is right here. I sure hope that is not where you fill up the transmission oil, but if it is, that would make sense as to why we got some milkshake action there. So if you know what that is, go ahead and post up a comment. So we're right in front of the gear shift right here, all right? And if there's supposed to be a cover there, and I'm thinking there is, I just don't know off the top of my head what it's for, but I'm thinking that is that may explain our milkshake action. All right, so again, post up a comment if you know. Okay, folks, so the basic fuel system here is from the tank all the way up to this fuel filter right here is one line, right? And so we're going to have to check the filter, and then it goes into this whole contraption, you know, and I guess this is the all part of the fuel pump and fuel injection system. So there's going to be a filter in here, all right, and there's a bleeder here, and this is the rack. And although the throttle is moving fine, I just want to go ahead and pop this off and take a look at the rack and make sure that everything in here is moving like it should, and probably lube it up a little bit too. Okay, getting the cover off here. All right, and so there's the rack, and you know, it doesn't look terrible in there. So nothing's rusted, and I'm gonna go work the throttle and see if everything is moving fine in here. Oh, no, it's not moving. All right, see, we got some movement right here, and we got no movement in here. step one, let's hit it with some Croil. This should be moving back and forth here, all right? I'm getting a little bit of movement on it, up and down, but I've got nothing side to side. So, we can try a little bit more Croil, and maybe with some, I don't know if we want to hit it with any heat, but let's see if we can get that freed up a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna pop this cover off here and see. I mean, obviously the rack is actuated by something in here, right? So we've got the throttle linkage going down behind this thing and the rack, this piece going in here. So let's pop this cover off and see what we see. All right, so let's see what's hiding behind door number 1 here. Well, yeah, a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not sure what it is. Oh, here's our, that's our throttle lever. I think that's where the throttle lever comes in. That's interesting. And then that is going to actuate, yep, that actuates this right here, okay? So now the question is, how do we free that up? And what's holding that? Oh, okay. Well, that wheel is moving.
Right. The wheel's moving, but that bar that is connected is not.
All right, so now we're on the electrical side. So what we have here is these big monster batteries that the owner provided. They've been charging, they were actually had a decent charge when we started. They're both around 11.5 volts, and we've been charging them for a few hours. I don't think they have a full charge. Actually, let me see. All right, I'm getting 12.5 here, and 12.6 here. Okay, and we've got them wired up to run 24 volts. We think this is probably a 24 volt starter, but if it's not, it'll just spin a little faster. So let me take you in a little closer and show you what else is going on. So we've got an electric starter here. So this engine may have come with a pony motor. I'm not sure, but it's got an electric starter, and the push button here actually works. So we tested it, and so it doesn't look like we're going to have to get real creative. I don't even think I'm going to have to get a screwdriver to get it to turn over. And so we've got, and look, folks, I don't have any black cable. This is a ground, all right? So we've got a ground here, and then we got the positive cable, which looks like it's in pretty good shape. And it ohmed out pretty good too, going to the starter. So the plan is to push the button here, and obviously we still got that issue with the fuel, right? So what we don't want to have happen is a runaway. And so what I really want to do at this point is just make sure that it's going to turn over. And if it sounds like it wants to start, we're going to hold what we got. Worst case scenario is we'll just block off the intake. I don't think we're going to need to do that because I don't think it's going to start or come close to start, and we're certainly not going to hit it with ether or encourage it to start. But we're going to give it a shot and see if it'll turn over. And if we get excited, maybe we'll try to purge some of the air out the line. So cross your fingers. Wish me luck. Okay, folks, we're getting ready. So everything is in the neutral position here, all the levers. So I've got the compression release in the start position. So hopefully it'll spin over kind of quickly if it spins over. And then if we want to build some compression, I'll just rotate it to the start position. All right, here goes nothing. So that sounded pretty good, right? I'm not going to lay on the starter for a while because I don't want to heat it up. Also, we got limited battery capability here. So, but that was, I mean, frankly, that's success at this point. This thing hadn't been running in over 10 years, and at least we got it starting or turning over pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to give it the beans again, but this time we're going to go ahead and turn it over, and I'm going to work the compression release. So this is the compression release lever right here. So right now it's in the start position. We're going to turn it to the run position. I'm just trying to get a feel for whether the engine is going to build any compression. So let's go ahead and start. All right, success, all right? I mean, you could certainly tell that the engine was building compression. The starter really slowed down, and obviously, you know, our batteries are kind of dying at this point. So, yeah, but I think that's, I think we're going to call that success, and I'm not sure how much more we're going to be able to get done today because we still got that fuel issue that we need to figure out, and I don't think we're going to figure that out on site. All right, let's go ahead and get this fuel filter off and see what it looks like. And we also want to see what the number is on it, so we can go ahead and get a replacement. And there's diesel pouring out here, so that's good news. So we know that it's getting fuel, at least in recent history, from the tank. Oh yeah, that's some. There's definitely some nastiness here. Don't ask me why I've got this 2-foot long ratchet now. There we go. All right, so now we're just, now we got grabbed the, we're getting the fuel coming from the tank here, just gravity. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pop that out, and we're gonna need to clean it out anyway. And then get that back on so we don't drain out everything out the tank. All right. Yeah. Well, it was gravity feeding from the tank. So obviously the filter didn't, the filter housing didn't hold that much fuel, so it was just gravity feeding from the tank, which is good that we know that we've got fuel coming to the filter. But man, that is that's some nasty stuff. Yeah, there's some debris down there, but anyway, so that's what we've got here. All right, still working on the fuel system. So there's got to be a fuel filter here, right? There's 6 bolts on the top, and so let's go ahead and pop that off and see if we can figure out what kind of filter is in there and see if there is fuel actually in there. All right, here we go. And not one but 2 fuel filters. And we got plenty of fuel in here. I'll tell you what, that doesn't look terrible. Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. Yeah, okay. And over here, the one closest to the engine's got a spring. Oh, they both have springs. All right, there's springs down there at the bottom. And that's interesting. So this one's got a rod in it and the other one doesn't. I'm not sure why that is. Oh, maybe they're both, I think they're both supposed to have rods in them. All right, whatever the case, so we'll put these in the bucket and see if we can't get some replacements for those as well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and button this up, and I'm not sure how much more damage we're gonna be able to do today. So we're gonna get things kind of tidied up and loaded up and head back north and see about when we can come out here again, because we made progress today, but obviously it wasn't the result we were looking for. We didn't get it started. So there'll definitely be more to follow. All right, folks, so while we were cranking the engine over, the owner, Jimmy, noticed that the winch was spinning. Oh, they're fine. They're fine. We got some company out here. Those are guinea hens. So we're way out in South Texas. We're a few hours south of San Antonio. So a beautiful countryside out here. We're on a cattle ranch actually. So while I was here spinning the engine over, the owner, his name's Jimmy. Jimmy was watching on the back side of the tractor and the winch was spinning. So these are the winch controls here and here. The problem is that we've got a Bluetooth connection on this one, all right? So that is supposed to hook up there. So if anybody knows how we can disengage the winch, I suspect that's one of the reasons why it didn't spin over very fast, because as we're spinning the engine over, something is spinning the winch over as well. So if y'all can post up a comment on how to disengage the winch, it'd be much appreciated. All right, folks, we are winding down now. All right, it has been a fantastic day, though. I mean, it is mid-December. We're in South Texas. We're out on a ranch. We got guinea fowl that are keeping us company. The owner's been out here helping us out. He's a great guy, and good on him because he wants to save this old Dozer, all right? He doesn't want to see it going to scrap, and good on him. All right, and we're going to see if we can't help out with that. Now, and look, if y'all haven't figured out now, neither Will nor I are heavy equipment mechanics. So this is not my wheelhouse, and so I need your help, okay? So we need to figure out a few things, right? The winch and the fuel delivery. Those are the two big things, and then we'll figure out fuel filters and air filter. And we're going to have to reload and come back out here a second time to see if we can't get this thing fired up. All right. And again, if you've got thoughts, comments, recommendations, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? All right. Post up a comment, because I really, really need your support and your advice and input. Okay. All right, folks, so that's it. So stay tuned for the next episode, all right? Maybe in a week or two, we'll be back out here to try again. And in the meantime, poke around on the channel some, all right? I've got several dozen videos up, and I guarantee that you will find something else on the channel that you like. All right, so that is it. Signing off here at the Bulletproof Garage. We'll see you next time.